Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of The Spark. I'm Coach David. I hope you're doing great today, and I hope that you're ready for another inspiring message from me. I hope that you're ready also to receive something that's going to help take you to a new level. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm not going to waste any of your time. Hey, invite somebody to come along. You can tag them, whatever the case may be. Call them up, whatever you got to do. But let's get into this. We started last week talking about mental traps. And as you know, I'm a mental performance coach. And so those are some of the things that I deal with on a continual basis when I'm working with athletes, when I'm working with students, when I'm working with just professionals, people who want to be better in life. Mental traps. And so last week we talked about I'll do it if I feel like it. Now, this week we're going to go to one, and I believe this is the biggest mental trap in America today. And that's other people's opinion define me. It is the trap of living for approval. Listen, that is not the way you want to live. See, here's what's going on in America today. People are not asking, am I improving? Am I getting better? Am I developing more? They're asking, am I being noticed? See, we live in this culture where you got to get likes, you got to get clicks, you got to get views, you got to get applause, you got to get followers, and the list goes on and on and on. But I want to share something with you. The very moment that your identity is tied to other people's opinion, your emotions become controlled by people who are not even living your life. See, I know applause feels amazing. I love it myself too, but applause does not improve my performance. So this is what I understand. If praise can control me, if I allow that to control me, then the criticism will destroy me. And I don't want to see that happen to you. We have got to get out of this mental trap of living for the approval of others. The approval of others is great, but what happens when they disapprove of you? If you have not learned how to manage that in such a way that you understand that, hey, I'm doing this based on my standards, based on my principles. If you get to that point, you allow what other people's opinion is of you to control you. And we don't want to do that. So let's get into it. Let's break this down piece by piece. First of all, I want to talk about this right here. Approval addiction creates an emotional instability in your life. What do you mean? All right. So if your confidence depends on the reactions of others, then what people get to do, they get to use your emotions rent free. They get to live inside of your head rent free. Praise from other people is not bad. And I don't want you to think it is, because like I said earlier, I enjoy when people applaud and when people say, hey, great job and all of that. But when praise from other people becomes necessary, you have a problem. In other words, if you can't perform, or if you're always questioning your performance based on the praise or the applause of other people, then now you have a problem. Your emotions are going to rise and fall, and it's going to be based on how people respond to you. That right there is a mental trap that will wear you out, because you are always trying to find the approval. You need that approval. You're addicted to it. And so when you don't get it, it causes your emotions to rise and fall. Likewise, your confidence is going to suffer, and it's going to suffer because your confidence should not come from approval. Your confidence should come from your preparation. And if people don't approve of you and your confidence drops off, how are you going to perform at your highest level? That's why I have learned that, listen, other people's opinion of me is none of my business. You will hear me say that, and I coach that to other people. You cannot be concerned about other people's opinion, because here's why. Some people are going to approve of you and some people are not. And then one day, some people are going to approve of you. And the very next day, when you make a decision for you, they're no longer going to approve of you. See, what I've discovered in my coaching and helping people, many people are not exhausted from life. It is not life that's doing it to them. They are exhausted from trying to be validated by other people. So we got to get out of this addiction for approval. You got to live for an audience of one. I say this all the time. You got to live for an audience of one. Are you doing the things that you said you were going to do? Are you performing on purpose? Are you doing those things? If you are moving in the right direction. Here's the next thing I really want to get into. You're performing for approval, it actually weakens your performance. Now, there are a lot of great performers out there, great athletes, great students, great professionals, just great people in everyday life. But the very moment you try to impress others, you stop executing freely. What do I mean by that? Remember what I told you a while ago? I said this and I'll say it again. You have to learn to execute in flow. What does that mean? That means that I practice this, I prepare for this, I'm ready for this, and I've done it so many times that I just operate freely. I operate in what we call, as mental performance people, the flow. I get in the flow and I'm operating and I am okay. I'm not too far over here where, I don't have any energy, and I'm not over energized where I'm just all over the place. I am in the flow. Well, if I start trying to impress people, I pull my performance off of what it should be on. See, you perform best when you focus on three primary things. Number one, your purpose. What's the purpose of you being here? Why are you doing this? What is your purpose in life? If your purpose is to be approved of others, you're going to have a rocky road. Here's number two, your process. Remember, we talked about it for a while. I perform best when I trust the process that has gotten me there. And not only that, I become the process. Then number three, I perform best when I operate based on my principles, my standards. This is why I do what I do. This is a standard, a principle in my life. And I hold that standard high and I don't come down from it, because I understand that when I operate focused on my purpose, when I operate according to trusting the process and becoming the process, and number three, when I operate by my standard, by my principles, then I get what I need to get. And I now can operate and I can perform in flow. Performing for approval oftentimes will bring certain things into your life that you don't want. Number one, you'll become what I call an overthinker. In other words, you will overthink the process so much. Then that's going to lead to this: hesitation and fear of mistakes. Then what's going to happen? You're going to stop trusting your preparation and your training. Why? Because now you're all in your emotions. And we know that emotions, when we're operating emotionally, we don't make the best decisions. To be an elite performer, hear me out on this. To be an elite performer, you must be able to recover quickly. And if you are linked to your emotions, you cannot recover quickly. I'm going to give you a perfect example I use with my basketball players that I coach. If you miss a shot and then you begin to wonder, what's coach thinking? What's my players, what my other teammates are thinking? What my parents are thinking? If you begin to do that, you pull yourself right out of the moment. You cannot be present-minded if you're thinking about what everybody else is thinking about you and the missed shot. What you have to do, you have to understand, I'm not performing for approval. I'm here on purpose. I have a process that I trust. I become that process, and I have principles, my standards, and that is what I operate by. I had a young basketball player, and when I say young, he's very young in school, but he's been playing basketball for a while. Now, he's a rather tall young man, and he went in one day for a dunk, and when he went in for the dunk, he came up short. It hit off the back of the rim. And then he lost it for the rest of the game. He could not get back in because he felt embarrassed, because everybody in the crowd goes, whoa. And so if you are that type of performer and that throws you off of your game, you are looking for the approval of others. Why do people slam dunk the basketball? Well, one, because it looks good. Two, because it gets the crowd engaged. But what if you miss? You have to be able to emotionally detach from that miss and keep moving forward. Many people are managing appearances instead of mastering their skills. And that's what causes them to come up short. You have got to get over this mental trap of living for other people's approval. It's other people's opinion of you is not your business. I will say it again and again and again. What's your opinion of yourself? I like to say it like this. When everybody stops talking, everybody stops applauding, all of that stops, what do you say about yourself? How do you applaud yourself? That is the key thing here. And then I want to talk about this as I kind of get to the end of this. Identity has got to be built on your principles and on your preparation. Why is that? Well, is your identity derived from what you consistently do or what people say? Because if it's derived from public opinion, if you allow that to define you, boy, I'm telling you, you're headed for an emotional collapse. Why? Because the crowd is always going to change directions. Listen to me and listen closely. You see this in everyday sports. One day, the Dallas Cowboys, they my people. Now, I know all my Dallas Cowboys fans are going to get mad at me, but I got to say this. One day, the Dallas Cowboys are my people. But man, the minute they start messing up, I'm going to go to the New York Giants. And so this is what I'm saying. People's opinion, the public opinion, if you allow that to define you, then you're headed for an emotional collapse when the crowd changes. And the crowd always changes. One week, you're God's gift to the game. You're God's gift to the profession. You're God's gift to this person or that person. And the very next week, they will attack you. So you cannot build your identity on anything other than your standards, on discipline, on character, on preparation, on being consistent, and never, ever on the applause of others. At some point, every one of us have got to make a decision. We got to make a decision whether we're going to live for the approval of others, or will we live our purpose? Will we live trusting our process in accordance with the principles, the standards we set up? Listen to me. Never allow your identity to belong to the crowd, because if you do, you're going to have problems. Never allow the applause to tell your story. You cannot do that. Don't let that happen to you. If your identity belongs to the crowd, to likes, to comments, to the number of followers you have, eventually the crowd is going to break you. We've seen it happen with professional athletes all the time. They are superstars until the crowd no longer approves of them, and now they are a nobody. If you are not an elite performer, listen to me, then this is going to get you. You know why elite performers don't have this challenge and they don't have this problem? Because of their elite mindset. They have an elite mindset. And because of that elite mindset, they are calm under pressure. They are steady when they're criticized, and they're focused regardless of the applause, whether they get it or whether they do not. That is what we call elite mental performance. And I challenge you on today to stop living for the opinions of others. Stop being worried about what people are saying about you, whether they approve of you or whether they don't approve of you. I'll say it one more time. Other people's opinion of you is none of your business. What you need to be focused on, you need to be focused on your purpose, your process, becoming the process, your principles, which is your standard. And if you do that, you are now developing that elite mindset, which leads to an elite performance. Boy, I hope that helps you on today. I know I got kind of preachy there, but that's okay, because I want you to get this. This, in my opinion, is the world's, the American people's worst mental trap is the trap of approval of other people. So stop living for the approval of other people. Live for approval. Now, when I say I live for approval of one, I live for the approval of God Almighty. That's me. Now, you got to figure out what yours is, but I'm just telling you, I want to clarify that, because I'm not so into myself to think that I'm infallible. But what I am, I understand this right here, that if I live for that audience of one, God, then I'm going to be okay even when I foul up. Okay? So you get yours and you get it locked in. I hope this has helped you on today. I hope it will strengthen you. I hope that it will take you all through this week. Go back and look at the different segments. And I hope also that you'll share this with somebody, that you'll like, that you will make comments. People need to hear your comments and need to be encouraged. Subscribe to my Facebook page. Web page is coming soon. Subscribe to that so that you can get this on an ongoing basis. Listen, I'm going to get out of here. You have a great week all week long. But remember this right here. You are the architect of your life. I'm Coach David, and I believe in you. And I will see you on next week. You have a great one. Bye.